So I think that finale shot is supposed to be him going. The reason the one ring can be destroyed by the volcano is because he forges it with the fires of the volcano. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
insinuating that he's going to the volcano to forge the one ring. It's insinuating that. One thing that I always thought was very fascinating of the Second Age, and we'll see if they do it. So in the Second Age, incidentally speaking, the first age the elves were the most powerful. In the second age, it's the men of Westeros. Oh my God, look at me. The Numenorians. Thank you. The
The
Numenorians,
Numerians,
who
okay.
are the Numenorians are basically half the race that are half human, half elf at this point. The Numenorians in the second age are the most powerful. They're more powerful than the elves. Okay,
Oh yeah,
and
I remember it. There
right,
was a whole thing about it.
and they eventually are the ones that defeat Sauron like halfway through, and then take him hostage to Numenor and to keep him captive, which is actually very biblical. It's in the Old Testament. It's very reminiscent of Joseph and Egypt in the Bible. Now that I think about it, and
Oh.
instead of him staying a prisoner, he ends up becoming like literally like the number one advisor of the king. And so he
Oh,
start
okay, yeah.
and then he starts in
Very
basic
biblical.
he starts basically creating a cult, a death cult in Numenor, and convincing the king that he needs to go, like literally go up and fight against the gods, like because they already conquered.
What?
Yeah, because the Numenorians eventually conquer all of Middle Earth with their ships. They become like the best, kind of like what England was in the medieval times, right? They had the best navy. The
Okay,
Numenorians,
yeah.
the Numenorians have the best navy. Nobody can contest them. They took Sauron prisoner, so they have nobody to fight, right? And then he convinces them go against the gods. And when they go against the gods, of course, the gods sink Numenor, which is like Atlantis. That comes from the Atlantis thing. And Sauron drowns in the sinking of Numenor, and
Damn.
and
Okay.
after that he can't change form. This is before that, so if he changes form from human to elf and stuff, it's allowed. But after that part, if we I don't know when or if they get to it, after he drowns, he can no longer change form. That's where you get that form that that is now classic from the movies with the fucking helmet. That's like his spirit
Ah,
form.
yes.
That's his spirit form. Like he's not physical anymore. He's diminished. He's like a spirit now at that point, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And because that happened, and it happened after he made the rings, that's why he wants the ring back, because his energy and his power is in the ring, because he died, because he literally drowned. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So he wants it back because he doesn't have it and he gotta get it
Right.
back from the ring where he
Yeah.
put it before.
It's kind of like again, to compare. I guess it's kind of like the gnosis with the archons in Genshin, right? Their power comes from the
Yeah,
gnosis.
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it's
So
source of power,
right. So
but it's not.
right now it's okay for him to change form. So I can't say like, oh, Tolkien never talked about him being human, you know. But it's okay
Oh,
if they do it
okay.
because he can change any form, and he can change. And obviously in this season they're gonna make him look elvish. That's fine because he did do that. Um, but once he drowns, they can't do that no more. So if they do, they're full of crap. Like that already is a great story, right? Like I don't know if they get to that, if
Yeah.
they do that, which they should. If they do it right, he creates a death cult. Like it's crazy,
The
and like he
shadows.
creates a political rift in Numenor, which again that would be cool if they did a good job showing it, where um, it's kind of like it's kind of like in Game of Thrones where you had the cult of the seven, right? And then you also had
Oh, yeah.
you had the olden gods, then you had the cult of the seven, and then what was the new one with the fire?
The light bringer
The
called
Lightbringer,
the
right?
the princess was promised. thing.
Okay, right. So like you have like if you compare it to that, which is very similar, you have the light of the bringers that are replacing the cult of the seven, and so the people that still follow the cult of the seven in Numenor are being like killed and being oppressed. You know what I mean? Because it's time to follow. You need to follow the death cult now, and
Yeah.
they are the ones that survive the sinking. The death cult kills off what they call in Tolkien is called they're called the faithful because they still believe in the old, the old gods, and they are the ones that leave and survive the sinking of Numenor. They
Okay.
and then the people that were already in Middle Earth because Numenor has like think of it like the Roman Empire, like how Roman Empire had like obviously outposts everywhere, like in Egypt,
Right.
let's say.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
so like the Romans that were in Egypt, in this case the Numenorians that are in Middle Earth that were bad, they survived too. But don't because they were
Okay.
already there. But the ones on the island, they all died, and there was that's the island was also part of the blessing that the Numenorians have because they're half elven, is that they could live for a very long time, like hundreds of years, right? So that gets lost too. The orcs would not have done this because the orcs are like brutes, like in the sense that first of all, orcs are elves, by the way. They're elves that were tortured
Yeah.
by Morgoth and turned and twisted into this. Okay, so it's not
Yeah.
like they're not elves. It's just that they're corrupted. Let's say they are they are fierce, but they are also scared of power. So they wouldn't go up to someone like this guy that's playing Sauron unless they felt that they were more powerful than him. They're making it sound like they're kind of rebelling on him. They would not have rebelled. They don't rebel against power. They just rebel. They're like they just fight each other. They're like, I don't know, an Italian family fighting itself.
Wow. Okay. Okay. No, that's interesting though. I haven't heard scared of power yet from this world.
What's that?
I haven't heard somebody scared of power in this world as of
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, like they would be
So
afraid
that's
of. They
really
would be.
interesting.
All he would have to do is show that he's way more powerful than them, and they wouldn't even mess with him, because that's how orcs behave. This. I know they want to make a point. They want to make a point here because they want to basically see again screenwriting. I'm telling you, screenwriting. Oh, we need to show that he's cold, calculating, that he's merciless. So let's make this scene. So they create a fake scene where this orc is attacking him just to illustrate that point, which I get it, but why can't you do that and still be consistent within the world that you're operating in? Because you can do that. You just are too lazy to do it. So instead you want to bend the rules and change the rules. That's what lazy writing is. It's not stupid, okay?
Oh, okay. That I didn't know. So they're not like
They're not stupid.
They're brutes,
It's
but
like-
they're not like simple-minded. They're
Okay.
not goblins.
You can understand this because you've seen it plenty of times with men, right? When men get angry, don't they act stupid?
Yes.
Right, because they're not thinking, because they're emotional and they're angry and they're yelling and they're not thinking. But doesn't mean they're stupid. It means they're behaving stupid because they're behaving emotionally. That's orcs.
Okay.
So like if you
So
insult
it's like
an
one side.
yeah, so like what happens with orcs typically is like what you would expect. Like I'm the alpha, and then like the other guy's like you're not the alpha, I'm the alpha, and then they get angry at each other, and then they fight each other, and the guy who wins. So okay, now you're dead. But that's it. Other than that, they're not stupid. They're sneaky. They have good sense of smell. They're elves, so they have good senses and they are smart, but it's easy to make them fight each other because they constantly get it's basically an elf on crack where like it has
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like they don't have control over their emotions, and you've seen that plenty enough. Like When a guy doesn't have control of his emotions, when he lets his emotions, when he doesn't keep cool, when he gets triggered by something,
Yeah.
it's over. And that's what happens to orcs. It's easy to trigger them if you know how to trigger them. And then that's where they start. But
And
they
because they're elves, do they have the same qualities and flaws of the elves? So like, do
Yeah.
they also feel superior, and that's why they
Yes.
attack each other in that sense, because they're like, I'm better than you, not just
Right.
we as a society are better than them.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just pitting against one another also.
and that's why they have no problem killing anybody else, because according, like you just said, according to them, they're superior to humans, they're superior to dwarves. Like they don't even
see.
register. So they're like the perfect Nazis.
Wow. Okay.
You
That
know,
is a statement.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like that. They are
Sure.
like they're like Nazis, but as long as you don't insult as long as you don't insult an orc, as long as you work within the rules of it, as long as you're not trying to climb to the top of the ladder, which of course they are always doing that, you're fine. But at
Yeah.
the moment you try to do any of those things, you're gonna run into trouble. So that's why there's always constant conflict with the orcs. It's not because they're stupid. It's because that's the scheme of the world that they live in now. You know what I mean? The elves love beauty. The elves love art. So therefore, the orcs destroy nature. They destroy art. You see?
I see.
It's like
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like a person in dysfunctional mode is what it is. But they're not stupid.
Okay.
Like they're not dumb. So when they play them as these, oh, you're hideous and you're ugly, and you're that, like, I don't even think they would give a shit about that, because what they respect, it's kind of like it's kind of like the negative aspect of the whole Natlan thing of like strengths. It's the same thing. Like they value strength. So if you're stronger than me, then oh, I'm gonna respect you.
I am your only future and my path.
This concept of like the orcs as a race, in the sense that like they have a sense of, they're trying to paint it as if the orcs are, you know, disenfranchised, a disenfranchised race that is like upset about how they're being treated. That's not how the orcs feel, because like you have to feel bad, right, for that to happen. Then they don't feel bad. They feel
Yeah.
they are superior, so they don't feel like, they don't care what anybody else thinks about them.
Your only path.
They don't want to be part of Middle Earth. They want to conquer and destroy Middle Earth. You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to fit in. They're not.
Yeah,
They're not
okay.
saying. They're not saying, "Hey, the dwarves have the mountains and the elves have the woods. Can we have our area? How come we don't get it?" That's not what they're thinking. They're like, "We want to destroy the mountains. We want to destroy the trees and just take it over, because we're better than all those fuckers." That's their thinking.